You're resilient, cousin. You're truly resilient. I'm going to share with you a story, and I bet you in this story you can identify how resilient you are. So, once upon a time, there was this young girl. She was born to a broken family, a mother and father who had not graduated high school. They were raised by people who had to deal with severe oppression, and really all of them were trapped in broken cycles. She saw all of their brokenness, and she was a true healer. So she wanted to help them prove that they are worthy by focusing on what they did not complete. Truly amazing, like the book of Job, right? Right. So this young girl, she focuses on her studies. She knows that her parents all got trapped in a cycle of feeling like they cannot do anything because they had babies by the time they were 16, even including her older brother who was 8 years older than her. So she asked God to give her the strength to make sure that she can overcome the same hurdle that had plagued her family. She studied and graduated from high school, first step. Graduated with honors with a grade point average of 3.8. And then decided not to go the traditional route in college because she didn't want to get lost in partying. So she picked an accelerated program that she would have her associate's degree. And this was her backup plan, by the way. Forgot to tell you that. The original plan, she was a natural talent of doing and styling hair since she was 12 years old, but wanted to go with plan B, which was to infiltrate and learn more about legal matters because her family needed help. So she decided to go to this trade school college where she would have a minor in legal administrative assistant with a major in paralegal studies. Amazing, right? Throughout this journey, she had to deal with a lot of obstacles because, let's just be honest, the odds were already against her because she had so much that her family was plagued by these same cycles. You understand? And she had to keep overcoming. So then she goes through college. She graduates in 2 years with a 3.8 GPA. And this school actually provides her with job placement. Not many of her scholars or alumni got placement, but she did. God bestowed this blessing upon her because she remained faithful. She remained focused. She remained praying. And everything that she had asked for, because she was dedicated, God granted to her. So now she is graduated from her first college, has an associate's degree. She is working in a law firm as a legal administrative assistant / paralegal. And 19 years old. 19, holding down her family, but she felt a void because everyone around her that she was working with were all adults that had families and spouses and children. And she started to ask God for a different direction. God, bless me with a husband. Bless me to be able to be a wife and a mother and be able to be in love. For her mother and father were married, but they didn't have a lot of love in their relationship. It was more out of situationship. So she wanted something different. Of course, whenever you ask God for something, just know that it's going to mix up and change up everything in your circumstance and make it feel like a storm. Don't you remember the book of Job, cousin? You cannot get your blessing until you let go of things that no longer serve you. So she had to go through that whirlwind cycle of change. She got fired from her job. And once she got fired from her job, she saw the perfect opportunity to go ahead and go to school with plan A, to get licensed for doing hair, for being a cosmetologist. Now, did that come up with so many different roadblocks? She started trying to party. She started trying to get lost. She started dating women. She started to forget about the objective. But little did she know, it was all a part of the plan. It was all a part of the journey, because with each thing that you ask God for, in order for you to build up that resilience and that persistence and the strength that comes with that type of authority, you have to go through some pain. So she went through a lot of pain. 2 years of constant partying, hanging with people who had children that they never put them first, but she seemed to always be there to be a willing vessel to pour into children. She saw that that was not the type of mother she wanted to be. So while she was on this journey, it came to a halting end after 2 years, and God finally spoke to her again. I know, right? A whole 2 years not hearing God's voice, and then God had started to speak. God said, "You cannot hear me or feel me because you have bound your flesh." What he meant by that, she had so many piercings in her face and everywhere else, and she had kind of pushed God away in her light because of all of the trauma that she had to go through within that span of 2 years. Her mother and father separated, and it was devastating for her because that was a part of her identity. Her mother then decided to date someone that was 5 years older than her, and that hurt too because they were living in her home. Her brother had been locked up and sent to prison, so her whole entire family dynamic had changed. Oh, with so much on her shoulders, she couldn't believe that God did not hear her prayers for her own family to be secure, but what she didn't know is that all of that was happening for her and not to her. So after being on this cycle of loss for 2 years, she finally sat down, and God said, "You can't hear me or feel me because you bound your flesh." She took all of those piercings out, and she started to rededicate her life and her light to Christ. And then as soon as she decided that she wasn't going to randomly date people anymore, she was going to wait and be still. She met the man of her dreams in her dream. She couldn't see his face. All she could see was the back of his head, and they were having so much fun going on rides in the amusement park. I mean, it was so fun in her dream, and then she was awakened. She was upset because she wanted to go back to that dream because she saw the love of her life, but she couldn't see him. So then she starts to kind of be open to meeting people again because she already knew that if God gave her the vision in her dream and it felt like reality, it must be right around the corner. Oh, and was she so wrong with the first one? The first guy that she thought was it was not. It was not, but God didn't waste any time. God revealed it to her immediately that it wasn't the right guy. And so she went on about her business and started to do other jobs. And every job that she received throughout this path, she would start out at entry level and always be excelled up to supervisor positions. That's how good God is. So while she was working for the U.S. Census, she was a supervisor. She was stationed inside of this YMCA. And she ended up being met by this guy. He seemed goofy and friendly, and he just wanted to say hello. And normally she's really guarded, but that intuition and that voice told her, be open. They exchanged numbers and then talked on the phone all night. And the next day, they hung out all day, explored the city together, and she started to know that this was her true king. I don't know who I'm sharing this story for, but I want you to be encouraged and understand that God hears your prayers. God hears your prayers and what you have to go through in order to get what you are asking for. Sometimes your life will be uprooted. It will be shaken around, stirred up, thrown around because those things that you are asking for will not be aligned with what you already have. Isn't it a miraculous, right? Now, this young woman that I just told you her life story, that young woman is me. Now, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm married to my husband. We have 4 children. And we've been married for 13 years. We've been together for 15 years and many, many more. So, whatever you ask God for, just know God will give it to you. But it will shake you around, turn you around, throw a storm in the ground in order for you to walk into your happy ever after. Be encouraged. I love you, cousin.